Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special edition called. This is like our series. Oops, hang on one. Ooh. Um, I'm trying to do this on a multiple platforms, so I'm trying to figure out what we're doing here. So I want to talk about writing and talking about not just writing, but optimizing your author's support group and all this stuff. And I'm going to walk through this whole template of information that I've been gathering, and hopefully this will help you along the way. Um, so what we're trying to do is build momentum in helping these indie authors get more out there and get more sales and stuff like that, especially if they're on Amazon. This is really for authors who have posted on Amazon, and that's who we're focusing right now. Um, so let's start off with authors and optimizing and supporters amplifying. So one of the things that I see here on Substack, especially the Substack, um, just there's so much support out there, and one of the things that we don't see often is that not enough collaboration in helping these independent authors, especially on Amazon, and getting them going and getting them and momenting them moving forward. And this is one of the things that I've been doing is working on these independent uh, book funnels, what you want to call it, is to help the momentum and help them going. And if we look at Substack itself, there's like 350 million users per month that is using Substack every single day. And there's X amount of payers, and I don't remember the number yet. But if we take 1% of that, it's 350,000 people that could help an independent author get off the map and move them up in the ranking and the helping them get off the ranking. And that's what I think one of the things that we have to figure out is how do we build this community? How do we do this in a way that we could all participate, all help? Because if you're out there as a supporter, one day what's going to happen is you're going to write a book. And what happens, you go on and you put this out there, and there's no marketing. You have to do it on your own. You have to figure out what your front page is unless you pay for somebody. You have to do the editing unless you pay for somebody doing the editing. And if you do a ghostwriting, which is fine, you might have to pay for that. All that takes money. You can't just pitch your book to these publishing companies because they're being inundated with so much so far, and that's why you have a lot of independent authors going out there and actually pitching this to or creating all this and put it on Amazon in hopes to make some sales. Now, there's been many success stories on there that indie authors have got successful and they started selling books and stuff like that, and then a publisher picks up. But what if we did it in Substack? We take the 350,000 people, and I know that's a lot, but say if that percentage, even a percentage of that, half of that, we're able to get those supporters and get the authors collaborating together, working together in a team, and able to focus on lifting an author up and pushing them over the threshold to get them be more recognizable in Amazon. And that's the most important part. How do you get recognized in Amazon? So this is the stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about building the product, optimizing the page, consistently promoting. We're going to talk about how we build the momentum. How do we build that? And we're working on that right now. I'm doing a couple tests. I've done a couple launches. The first launch was a success, even though it wasn't where I wanted to be, but it was better than expected. Better than expected, and that is important to say that. That means there's people interested in helping each other, and that's in Substack, and it's a beautiful thing. And then engaging with content and amplifying the message, and that's what we're working with. That's what the authors and us and myself are working on. and building that, and hopefully that would translate to the supporters, and the supporters will help the authors out and so forth. So that's the thing that we're working. That's sort of what we're going to be talking about here, and we're going to keep going through all these slides. So when this really is to go to the authors, and um, I've saw a couple of them out there, and I was looking through them, and I've done some horrible things myself on there. You really need to make sure your Amazon profile is up to date. Make sure it's crisp, it's clean, and I mean not so like a not diarrhea mouth is the best way to put it. Make sure it's consistent, precise, but raw and honest and authentic to what you are doing. Don't be this flowery person and trying to make this thing. No, you wrote a book. Why did you write that book? What made that book so important for you to write that? Write it down, make that happen. And then so it resonates, but also make sure when it resonates, it only resonates to you, but it also resonates to the readers, and that's how you get more subscribers in there. So so that is important. Your Amazon, while you're an author, but also your description of your book as well. Building reviews and trust. That is something that we all authors try to get our family and friends do, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, sometimes they buy our books and all that. And reality is that our market? I mean, seriously, is that our market? And the answer is really, not all the time. They're buying it because they know you and they want to do that and blah blah blah, and that's how it goes. Power ranking. That's an important part of this puzzle, and this is why reviews and all that is important. And then what support can do. What can Substack supporters and readers and all those audience that you have that love your content, write your content, how do we get them involved? How can we get them to help us? And that's important. And then the author and supporter system. And this is where we're working towards, and hopefully by the end of the year, it becomes like a machine. And that's where I want this to go. So you need to be found. You need to get sales, because every author that publishes something on Amazon doesn't publish on there not to make money. We all try to make money, but you also have to build trust at the same time. So indie books need to build that momentum. And that's one of the key things you're going to be hearing me saying. That's the operative word, momentum. We have to build momentum. So when you put a book launch out, and we're working as a team, and we're working as a unit, and we're working as a community, and we help the first launch to be huge successful. And this is, it'll make more sense as we go through this, but that's the key. We need to make this more, make that launch really jump up, and we could do this. So here's the thing: we want to be, the title needs to be found. How do we find the title? How do we make that work? And there's a couple of things we can work on. Sometimes AI does pretty good with some of the titles. It's a good tool. Sometimes you need to figure out what the best way to put your titles in. That's one way of doing it. So if you haven't got a title, then AI might give you a couple options, and that might work as well. Use clear keyword titles. That's what I mean by that is make sure they're clear, crisp, and coherent. That's really important. Focus on outcome. Again, when you're writing your description, don't focus on just putting it out there. And I'll show you a couple of examples of mine and the differences of how can that make. And then think of like a search engine. So people are going to try to find your book, or they're going to type in certain things, and all of a sudden they're going to come across your book. And if you don't have really good keyword in there, like for example, my journey is weak. So if you type that in, it's going to come up with a bunch of journey stuff. And it might be the music journey. It might be a movie. It might be a whole bunch of things. It doesn't really relate to your book. Now, how to rebuild your life after a loss, that has some power behind it. That has a voice. That tells me there was a loss in that life, and they're rebuilding it. And And Amazon loves that stuff. They really love that you really focus on the title, but also focus on what it means. And then that also helps supporters resonate with your book. They get a little more of a sense. Okay, the title, okay, I'm going to be reading about rebuilding my life. That's important. That's a cool thing to understand. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to rebuild my life. And and someone who resonates with you, especially in your Substack, who is familiar with your writing, they're going to understand some of the things that you're writing already, because now they're going to look at your book and say, okay, I got that. And that's an easy review for you to do. They might click on it and just give you a quick review. That's important. Or they might even take your book and start sharing it, and they have a little bit of a sense to their audience, and more and more and more. So there's always a common interest in all what we do here in Substack. And my reader is going to be completely different to a guy who's a business writer, completely different. But we share the same common theme. We all are trying to sell a book. We're all trying to elevate each other, but we can collaborate because some of his readers might be crossovers to mine and vice versa. So remember, we're we're working towards momentum. And if you're focusing on creating a better search, keywords, all that on your book, and a better description, that's a lot more important here, so that everybody can be part of, has a little bit more of an understanding of what you're about, and so forth. Now, book designs, you can hire somebody and you get them going and so forth. Book designs are really important as well. They The more professional it looks like, and I'll give you a couple examples of mine that I could have done a little better, but I didn't really care. I was just like throwing them out there and see how it goes. And I did a lot of mistakes earlier on in my career. And as I keep moving forward and forward, I'm getting better and better at it. And I'm understanding how this works. And that's where, years of experience in doing the indie author journey is does give you uh, a lot of painful experience. Let's put it that way. So, you want to make it look like it's professional. You just don't want to look like it's just slapped on there and whatever. Readable thumbnails, that's important too, because if you're doing Kindle, they require a type of dimension versus the actual book and so forth. Everything has its place. So make sure when you're doing your books, they're make sure they're always consistent from one to the other, but also make sure it fits within the parameters of where you want it. If you're a hard book, make sure it fits in there. Make sure it fits in the paperback, but also Kindle as well is important. So you want to look professional, make sure it looks the same. You don't want to be like you, one of the things about marketing, the more confusing you are, the less interest people become of you. They don't want to buy from you. They'll just they'll just walk away. So you if we're working on momentum and we get people come in and clicking on your book, and the first thing they see is you're confused, they're going to walk away. They're going to say, okay, what are they about? And the book is the first, it's the top of mind. We call it TOMA in marketing, top of mind awareness. So the more top of mind awareness you put to your book, put on your profile, all that on Amazon, the better people will relate to you quicker, faster, and easier. That's important. Then when your supporter comes in, or this momentum, we're using Substack, and all of a sudden they pause, they take a look, and they start seeing, they start reviewing, and they're like, wow, this person has some stuff, has some things going on. And they start engaging in your book. That's how they get triggered. They might buy, they might spend some time, spend time writing because they're familiar with you. They might have some time to post a review. That's the cool thing about this. So cover takes has a lot of attention, but it creates that visibility of connecting with someone very, very quickly. So remember, TOMA, top of mind awareness. Your book is the is the entry to your world, and that book cover is the most important part of the puzzle. So if you think you could do it on your own, great, do it on your own. But look at other successful. Go on Amazon, look at the power ranking, and I'll tell you, explain about a little more power ranking. But go in the book section, see what type of the type of creative stuff is out there. Look what they're doing, what the top booksellers are doing on their book covers, and that kind of gives you a gist of what it requires of you. And then make sure you use a professional. Like use don't do it on. I remember I did it a couple times on PowerPoint, and and, and then sometimes I use the Amazon tool, and they look amateur. I'm not gonna lie, they look amateur. They look okay, and I didn't think really about the book itself, the cover, but I can understand it's important. There's an important part of this. That's the top of mind awareness. So go on to a creative, like spend time on that. If you're not spending money, spend time on your book cover. That's where I would put most of my money in if you're going to do anything on that. Now, here's some examples of good top seller books. Um, Something simple is the "Don't Believe Everything You Think." It's a very simple, but look at the title. They really put a lot of emphasis and keywords in there to make it really pop. That so the algorithms, the power ranking, it starts to percolate in the system and pushes that book further and further and further, and that's cool. uh yellow is yellow is a very powerful color in marketing. A lot of people use it to draw attraction. They try to bring people. It's a first eye catcher, especially on a page that you have multiple books you're looking at. It's one of the things that people look at, and it's an easy eye catch. And then that's the top of mind part of the top of mind awareness is, oh, boom, I'm going to grab that book, go dive into it. And then you read the title. It has a powerful discipline. You already know you're already knowing something in that book is going to relate to that. And then you talk about self-control, mental toughness. You start diving in, and that first little bit, you already got a concept of what that book's about. And then you go into the last one. This is another color arrangement. They're using orange, which is an attraction. So some of the colors out there are red, yellow, orange is the other one, and sometimes a fluorescence of colors tend to draw people's eyes quicker. It's like what do you call that? Where you see all bland colors all day long, and all of a sudden something pops, like a beautiful flower that's pink. Oh wow, that's beautiful. It's the same concept when it comes to marketing your book. So take some time when you look at that, and also take some time looking at your power, looking at your the keywords and your titles and all that. Make sure they're nice and strong when you post it. Like I said, AI has a very good useful tool when it comes to creating titles and keywords. That's something you can use to put in your titles. Something I would recommend. Okay. So just because you have the book cover, you got to convert sales from the book cover. Like the first two lines, especially on Amazon, and we'll dive into those a little quickly and I'll show you the difference. You got to show what that book's about. It's got to speak to a problem. It's got to show transformation. It's got to show a story. It's got to show that pain. It's got to show something that a reader is going to pick up and buy or put a review in. And if it's going to be generic and it's going to be kind of bland, people are not going to they're not going to tune in. And especially when a description is all bunched up, which I have an example that I've created myself, and you see this yourself, and you'll understand what I mean. It's all bunched up. It's all, there's no spacing. There is no consistency in the thing. executive summary, I would say. In it's not a summarized situation. So the description is the most, it kind of helps with the conversation of the book. You got the front page, which is the title book and all that, which is really important. It's powerful. You have the color, you got people drawing in. Now they're going to go talk, they're going to read, if they're really truly interested in you, they're going to find the hook. What is the hook of your story? What is the hook that's going to solve someone's problem or make them happy or do something that is emotionally invested into that book? And that's what you're trying to do. In marketing, it's about emotional investments. How can we emotionally move somebody from oh, this is cute to an impulsive buy, or I want to buy this book because it speaks to me. Those type of things. Now, when it comes to your supporters and you're publicizing this on your Substack and your social media sites or whatever you do, if it's bland, you're not going to get a reaction. If it's innovative or it's kind of like authentic and raw and honest and truthful, they're going to touch it. There's many examples on Substack when writers write a bland story, and it's nothing wrong with it. It's how they write, or they're learning how to write. But when they get better and they start progressing over and over again, and you start seeing their writing style move from one area to the next area, they start to see themselves in a different way. And all of a sudden you're reading their stories and they're getting improved because they worked on their story, their writing, and they've improved. And it's practice, 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 practice. Well, same thing with your description. If your description is bland, they're not going to resonate. And that's how people think. Nothing against them. It's just how it is. Uh, you may think it's great, but my honest opinion, if it's, like I said, I'm going to show you an example of mine. If it's just packed up like that, or it's just like one line after that, there's no summary, no nothing, no one's going to resonate. No one's going to read it. That's the problem. And if there's nothing there and you put two sentences in there, you're not going to get any support at all. So this is really where the supporters are trying to help you, want to help you, but you got to help them to help you in this situation. Okay. So description really sells it converts sales. That's really what it is. Description converts sales. Now, so how does Amazon work per se? So you have the SIN. Now, I'm going to let you know, I've been selling on Amazon for years. And to sell on Amazon, there's a lot of things you have to figure out. And sometimes it can be very complicated. Sometimes it could be very annoying. And it could be almost to the point where you get completely frustrated. Now, I've sold products online, and one of the things that I used to do is find something, and then I would sell it online, and I would sell it online, and sometimes it would never sell because of how Amazon is built and how purchasing power is built in Amazon. So you got to think about it. Everything is built on how many people touches on that product. And books are considered a product on Amazon. So if that product is not touched, then it's not going to get resonated inside Amazon. A lot of people are not going to be aware of it. So one of the things you do want to make sure in your Amazon, make sure each book has an SIN number. That's really important to have. If you don't have it on there now on other things, that's fine. But as you move forward, try to make sure those things are on there. Paid in Kindle. So 509 paid in Kindle stores. That's saying that it's 500 in ranking. That's the best seller right now. It's 500 plus ranking. And then it's 3 in self-help. That's in the ranking file. So they're ranking pretty high. And then 20 in Kindle store. So what this says is this book is very high in their ranking. That means their views, their touches on Amazon will always be like the top in the top rankings of that of those categories. So the other thing in your book, you got to really make sure your categories fit your book and make sure you fill those out, because if you don't fill them out, the power rankings are not going to understand where your book sits. Customer reviews. This is also part of the ranking. Just because you've had the proper category of your book and you're also keywords are in there too, customer reviews are the crucial things that Amazon witnesses or tracks on that product. If you have no reviews, zero, your ranking is almost like 1.5 million people. 1.5 million out of 150 out of products, like, so in that category. So for example, I have a book that it's sitting at 1.2 million, and my ranking on that is 102 out of all those books. So that means I'm invisible. Like, I'm not even seen on Amazon. Like, I do not get recognized. I don't get any special treatments. They're not pushing me. They're not pushing me in the front page anymore. I'm in, probably, if you go on Google search and you see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the bottom, you click on 10, I'm triple that. So like, I'm like the almost 150 pages of searches. So, but that's how it goes on Amazon. So the higher you go, so this power ranking, because of their customer reviews, is pushing them higher. And their reviews are also pushing the 509, the 3 and 20, based on where they bought is where they go. That's where it comes down as Amazon verified purchaser. So if the purchaser bought the book, left a review, that is a huge win for that book, because what it says is that 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 person who bought the book not only bought the book, took the time to come back and write out a review, a glowing review, which helped. So then, depending on where that book was purchased, because there's three types of rankings, that's where that book is being ranked in that category. That means they're getting top bill all the time, top, 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 top. And if you're, again, we go back to the original thing about your front page, your toma, about your book. If your book cover has that crisp, clean cut, boom, a professional outlook, you're going to get more clicks on there, because that's the goal. Because the more clicks you get, the more higher chance you convert every clicks to about 1 to 2 sales per 30 clicks. That's a pretty good thing if we can keep getting that momentum going. So we want to make sure, this is like 1,700 plus in reviews at 0.5. That's really, really good. Now, here's the trick. Even though the reviews are 4.5, if it goes down to like 3 or 2, that product becomes not a good product for Amazon. It actually will spit it out in the system, and you could lose your rankings. It can lose all momentum. It can be drowned for Everland, and you'll never see it back up because of the reviews. So you really want to make sure you get good reviews on your book. That's important. So how do we get reviews? I mean, obviously we have to build trust, and that's one of the places we've really built trust is in Substack. We've collaborated with each other. We've worked with each other. We've made friends and neighbors and things like that. And asking for a review sometimes as an author is kind of like, you don't really want to do it because it's work. It's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you almost don't want to do it because you feel like you've asked too much, I guess is the best way to put it. And you're kind of concerned that if you ask more, your subscribers and your followers might just spit you out and kind of say, I'm done with you. I'm going to move on. Well, I don't see that in Substack. I see the opposite. I think our supporters, our subscribers, our followers want to help us, want to help us. You feel like well, I, I agree, but I disagree with that comment, Carl, because I I don't agree with that, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to make something ourselves in this book and stuff like that. If you are feeling that way, then I think that's something that you can. Um, there was a comment made that, and I'm going to use a different word. What we're talking about here makes you feel uh, like someone who's trying to sell something, probably a snake oil person or a car sales person. I don't think that's the case here. I don't think, and if it does, please let me know. I'd love to respond to that. But my goal is to help you guys understand that in Amazon, you have to fix your book covered or fix your description to appeal more people to write your reviews, because without reviews, your book will go nowhere. That's the point. Unless you spend hundreds and thousands of dollars in advertising to sell your book, or if you don't care to sell your book, then that's fine. That's your prerogative. I'm talking to those who want to sell their book and who wants to make it more meaningful and make it more better, to get across the finish line and move forward. So asking for clearly for reviews is important. We want to make sure that when we're asking for reviews is giving people an opportunity to come in and do something. And your book needs to be set up, your description needs to be set up, but you're going to also give a little bit of a summary. You can actually give a couple pages of your book away for free and let people read the few pages and see if they like it or not. Let them go on. Uh, and make it easy for them to leave a comment. And because the goal here is 25 reviews, what it does, you know, it takes you from a nobody in Amazon world to something that now Amazon recognizes you as you move forward along the way and starts to elevate you a little bit more. When you get to the 50 mark, then Amazon takes you more serious and takes you to the point where it's now pushing you up, pushing you up. And that's free marketing. You're not paying a dollar for that. You are asking for 25 reviews to help. I spent over $4,000 in advertising dollars last year in Amazon, and my sales did nothing. And it doesn't matter how many times I changed the keywords, changed the campaign, nothing was working because I wasn't getting the reviews. So the more reviews that an author gets, especially an indie author, the more the book more elevates. Now, if I was getting reviews and getting and making the sales, my books would have been a lot more better positioned to convert sales. So when we have supporters out there that want us to help us all the time. And I think at leaving a review, even a 1 sentence, 2 sentence, and I say 3 sentence, but an honest feedback. I mean, they already know who you are. They can leave a feedback, make you feel that help you move forward, and those reviews will start unlocking sales. So traffic, this is the reviews about traffic and stuff like that. As we're talking about rankings, we're talking about covers and all that. It kind of works together in a really strange way to help you move forward in your momentum of your book. So what it does is you have to start posting your book. You got to be selfish. You got to be someone that says, "Hey, I'm gonna post my book on notes or on social media, on things like that." You got to get more prints. But the problem with indie authors is that we have a very small voice unless we have tens and thousands of subscribers or tens of thousands of followers on X or TikTok or whatever. We're not going to get those conversions at all. So one of the things that I've been working on is that I've been working on a book funnel for people, authors on Substack, to help get like 10, 15 people to work together in helping collaborating, but cross, cross all platforms, their platforms, and starting to put articles out there, notes on there, help leave comments on people's or reviews and things like that, trying to work with again and trying to build a momentum for their books to get the reviews, get the 25 reviews, just the minimum 25 reviews. And the more we do that, I mean, think of it, if we have, let's say, an average of 15, that's 15,000. And if there's somebody in the mix that has 10,000, now we're 25,000 people. If we say that, that puts us 25,000 people. Uh, that is who we become, this this engine in Substack, where we can start supporting these authors and pushing them to the point where they can start getting recognition and so forth. So posting multiple times in different and from people different ways, showing up, consistency. I mean, through these campaigns that we're working on, they're short campaigns and we're consistently trying to post. If you've been seeing my Substack, I've been posting authors all throughout the month this month. But also I've been doing is doing the reviews, and now I'm posting their reviews as we go down to the end of the month. And the reason why I do that is I'm trying to show different ways how we can promote each other without really promoting each other. I mean, it's important. I mean, we spent time, you worked on the front page, you worked on your book, you worked on your covers, you spent all those hours that to develop that. Isn't it time to see some rewards behind it? That's how I'm looking at it. And these supporters, you got to think about it. Maybe we might be 25,000 in, right, as a community of authors pushing our content. But you got to think about it. How many those supporters have maybe 500, 600, maybe 200 that they're pushing it out to their people. And it grows from there and everybody snowballs. One of the things from one of the things that what we always do is we market to people that don't know us. And that is probably the hardest thing to do, because you're reinventing yourself, you're recreating who you are, you're trying to explain who you are, while you spent maybe 3-4 years on Substack, 2 years, 1 year, whatever. You've done the work, you put in the work to identify you, explain yourself, and you've gained followers, you've gained subscribers. That's your market in the nutshell. And so why not ask our subscribers to help us grow? So there. Roland had a question or a statement. Ideally, find someone to read it who love it and have a huge following. Exactly, Roland. I appreciate that. Exactly. Another question came in. What if we put our books available for free or $1 at a specific time so that we can buy the books from the people in the funnel group so they can read them and do a knowledgeable review? That's a very good one, Scarrett. That I never think about that. That's something we have to talk about. I agree with that. We have to think of how we can do that. The only problem is that if you lower it down to $1, especially paperback and hard copy, you got a little bit, there's a cost there that's already built in for the print, so we can't do it there. But we may be able to do that in the ebooks. The problem is, not a lot of people like ebooks. I'm not an ebook person. I'm a hardcover paperback person. I like the feel of the book in my hand. So, but that's a definitely, we can work on that. There's different ways we can do that. There's promotional things we can do to make that work, and we could talk about that, definitely. Creating small bursts. That's the whole thing about these book funnels, is creating these small bursts where we push people to get going and help them get forward in that whole thing. Um, so coordinating promotions, when you have 15 people, uh, there's 15 people, we're coordinating together, we're collaborating things. So one of the things that I'm doing as for the book funnel is I'm creating an article or a newsletter, and I'm going to showcase all the books on there. On my website that I have, I put it in there as a depository for all books. So people can go there anytime they want. Through If they're looking for a book, they can go there. So I'm creating that. It's on my Substack. These are the things that I'm doing to push that. And then I do notes and things like that. And one of the things I encourage all the book funnel members in this is to make sure we're all tagged, or make sure you're tagging people, make sure you're following, or you're, especially, I would suggest subscribing, and we're all subscribing to each other. We're all doing things, because it's also in Substack, it's pushing it out there, and it also has to do with, pushing your content higher into the rankings, just like in Amazon. So that's one of the things we want to do. And then, we're experimenting here. And one of the things that Sacred is mentioning about the discount books, that's a great idea. We need to look at that, and that's experimenting timing, where we can put a fire sale, for example, and everybody posts at one time. We could do something like that. And then in my emails, I have segments of groups where we're always emailing each other, and it was kind of cool this time around. This group is a little bit more involved, and maybe it's because of how I set it up this time around. The first group, the founding members, really were the test pilot of this, and I learned through a lot of the things there. And as I'm going through it, I started to implement some of the things I wanted to change in the second group. And as I keep moving forward, I'll keep making small little changes. I should just let you know, my background is in sales and marketing. I was in publication for many years. That's where my career was, in newspapers. I was I was the director of circulation, VP of circulation, where you want to call them, and my goal was to sell the newspaper and how to sell it. So, and sell the certain other things. And we had a whole bunch of things that we had to look at in promotion. And the front page was always the issue. And I'll show you my errors as front page. My editor would slap me across the head if he saw that. Anyways, so this is why I understand momentum. I understand sales. I understand how to market, how to get there. I don't know all of it, but as collective group, if we have ideas moving forward, that's great. And this group that I got going, they're very engaged. They're very, very intuitive. One of the things is that nobody realized they didn't have the connection they could with emails. And so what they did was they started to email their Substack so people can subscribe. And that's collaboration on its own. And I didn't initiate it. I just said subscribe to each other. And they started figuring that out, which was great. Sometimes in marketing, you don't always want to be always the leader in that situation. You want the team to kind of progress on its own and start acting on their own, because they're the ones that are going to be invested in pushing this. They're the ones that are going to be promoting this in front of their readers and subscribers. They're the ones that are going to keep doing this and pushing it further and further. And that's really important. Also, Notes has a really good, I like it and don't like it. It's this calendar. You can schedule things. So you could spend a couple of days or a couple hours and type in a bunch of notes and then schedule them out and keep it consistent. If it's mine are come out at 10 o'clock at night. The reason why I do 10 o'clock is because I got European subscribers. I also have early people from the West Coast who are subscribers, and they'll start to see that. They'll start commenting, and hopefully that will go on. And then the next day, I restack it. I don't make a comment. I just restack it so that the people from the East Coast see it, and so forth. So you could use notes as to strategize your um, strategize your postings of your fellow funnel people, book authors, and start doing that way. And that's one way. That's how I do it. It takes away the burden of, oh, I got to sit down and do this. I got to do that. I do it in a couple hours. I'm done. I don't have to worry about for the next couple of days or the next month. I can work on something else that I always do. Restacking during launches are really, really important. Like we talked about that's where supporters can take an indie author and restack it. Hopefully they can encourage their readers and their followers to do a review or to even purchase a book. So that's important. Planning ahead and sharing, that's the other thing. In chat, we all have chats, and we have chats with our readers. One of the things you want to do is, sorry, I crossed from readers and subscribers because it's an old school thinking. I'm sorry if that bothers you. I didn't mean to. But anyways, that's what I'm talking about when I talk about readers and subscribers. So we have a connection with them directly, and that can also be a good way to engage with them, and they might do the same thing on their end. And staying engaged with your readers and your subscribers are really, really important because they're what made you today. I mean, I don't say made you, but they followed you and they created They created this. They created your community, and they're part of your community. They're reading your stuff, they're liking your stuff, they're sharing your stuff, all that. Make sure you're still engaged with them and liking them and saying thank you and being grateful for them, because without them, your book will not sell. I'll promise you that. So the burst improves sales. So this book funnel that we're working through, that's going to help move forward. That's Dandy Quinensis. I was a newspaper. Okay, well, there you go. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, power ranking. Let's explain this. The power ranking is how your book or how any product on Amazon sells. So you want to choose smaller categories when you're trying to find your books. You want to make sure it's drilled down to the point where it's seen in the powering, and that is your KDP. So on your KDP, when you're actually uploading, and for those who don't know that's how Amazon uploads your book. You have to go through another software. It's called KDP, and through there you start setting up your book. You upload your novel, and you put your book. You do all the things in there, and then in there that gives you keywords, categories, and all that kind of stuff in there. And that's how it helps you to drive traffic to your thing. So keeping your smaller categories, making sure you pick the right ones that fit your books, because it kind of correlates to each other. And then aim for short bursts. So one of the things that we want to focus on in these short bursts is that we do these book funnels. So the 15 or 20, 15, this is the large group that I have, is we make sure that when we push this, we're pushing this on a regular basis and everybody in sequence so that everybody moves forward. Now, every 30 clicks, and this is a really, I'm going to say it's probably less than one sale. And I know it says 1 to 2 sale, but it's one sale. But if we're up in the 50s to 100s, you're at a high probability your book is selling. Now, that's if everything before I said that is working. This is very low conservative numbers. But if your book is hot, it looks like it has the right description, has it's really sexy, it's authentic, it's all that, and people will pick it up and people will buy that. And that's what's the important part of it. Exactly, Roland. Build a tribe. And that's what we're doing here. We're trying to build a tribe where we all work. I want to just touch on that so we can understand where this is what I'm thinking. And maybe I'm you see, when you talk about all these, so I worked in publication. I know how hard it is to create a book or create a newspaper or create whatever it is, convert that into a product and deliver it. And we had millions of dollars to do that. I mean, we had millions of dollars because we had paid subscribers, we had advertisement, we had all that. A publisher has hundreds and thousands of dollars, millions of dollars also in the back. And they're picking authors and they're willing to put that much money and the marketing behind it. So imagine the marketing. They're willing to dump $100,000, $1 million, depending whether it is. They're willing to put money behind it. What I want to create is the largest indie publication on earth. 350 million of us, the largest free campaign, free marketing, and we're buying and selling all these indie authors. Imagine us, the tribe, creating this momentum, this little community of ours that is now ranking all these indie books in Amazon. And we flipped the entire script. We flipped the whole meaning of how to sell a book. And my goal is to see one of us or many of us get picked up or make the money. And I know we're all could use a few dollars in our pockets and all that, and we all dream to have a little better life and all this. So imagine if we're able to take this opportunity, regardless of what age you're at, and we focus on helping each other grow and getting us over the top, where we're helping each other. That doesn't require any marketing. This is all free marketing, people, that I'm showing you right now. This is all free marketing, and I'm sharing it with you. This is free. All we have to do is apply. All we have to do is engage. All we have to do is take a little more of an effort. That's it. And not be shy about asking and not be shy about moving forward and helping us grow. Because if we can make the power ranking in Amazon to be all Substack, imagine that. Imagine what the capability of that can be. What does it mean for someone who is just thinking about writing and is afraid to publish, or someone who's struggling and can't get it out there? And we give them the tools of how to do that. But more importantly, we give them the machine that could help them take their book to the next level. That's what I'm talking about. And might be small numbers now, but I want these clicks to be in the thousands by the end of the year. And I want to see at least 50 to 100 books sold and with thousands of reviews. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm hoping for. And if one of these books take off and one of these publishers pick it up, my God, we have someone in our community take off. And I think that's the greatest thing we can ever give to each other. And that's the community. That's building the tribe. So I want to jump into some of my stuff. Here's my poor attempt to creating a romantic book. It's Rochelle and Mateo. Now, the one thing I want to talk about is the description. It's the most horrible description there is. The cover book is okay. I mean, could it be a little better? Yes, I'm using white really bad. I mean, it's kind of glared in and it's kind of like and it's AI, but I mean, use the AI to create that from a photo, and it just, it is what it is. But you can see that this whole thing is like like ugly. Like it's just like, oh my god, who's gonna read that? It's all jumbled, all the words are all put together. It was copy and paste, by the way, and it just looks awful. I didn't put any time to it, didn't do anything about that, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's it is what it is. And I forgot about it. I don't care about it. I don't really care about it. I just today I found out I have one review. I'm like, this is awesome. And I also looked at the ranking. I was very shocked by it. One thing I want to show you is here's all the 4 products that Amazon does offer for each of your book. Hardcover, Kindle, paperbook, audiobook. Audiobook can be very a game changer as well, and maybe I'll do another presentation based on that too, because there's a way to do that without spending a lot of money, and there's a way to do that. Okay, so let's look at this is Mateo and this is Rochelle, and here's the product detail. The ASIN number is right here. This is my publishing name. I just kind of made that up. Now it's actually now a corporation. I made that into a corporation. This is public like July 17th, first edition. That's important. Make sure, because every time you revise this, because so Amazon allows you to revise this and update this, and you can create a second edition and so forth. Languages are important because you can have multiple languages in this situation. I know when we're writing, well, it used to be The Whole, now it's called Ciao Bella, the Italian program project that we're working on. That's going to have multiple languages. It's going to have English, it's going to have Italian, it's going to have French, and I think those are the 3 ones we're going to do. But that will give us three markets to go to and stuff like that. File size, their print length. So this is right. I don't know if you knew this, but this is your catalog number, basically ISBN number, which is you'll see it's a barcode, your barcode number, but you'll see in the back of your book. And I also enabled the flip. That means the person can read a couple chapters or a couple pages, and they can read it. Now here's the ranking. Here's the ranking. The best ranking is 25,900. I still don't know how I got there, but I think I know how because of how I categorize this. Romance collections, and obviously I'm at 25,000. I'm still nowhere near the top. To be in the top, I need to be the 100 or less, or even 1,000 and less. That's important. But the reviews will push me up there if I did that. Clean, wholesome, I did that. That's at 42,000. And then see literature and fiction right here. That's where I'm buried at 2.7 million. That means in literature, I'm in nobody's world. And 1 customer review. So these are the 3 things you really want to start seeing, or for this area here, your customer review, your power ranking, all that what sells this book. Here's one that I did, was early on. It's called The Bike Accident. It was my first. I created I created this as well. I did the cover through Amazon. It was my first book. I had a writer that helped me, or an editor that helped me. It was my first book. Didn't really like it. It wasn't the best, but I had 1 review, and it was a friend, but it was a verified. So someone bought my book. This is back in 2022. I always think about rewriting this book because I know I can do better on this. And you can see that I got nothing here in power ranking, 0. That's the best. That's the best I got. So this book is dead in Amazon world. It doesn't even recognize it. And this is where most of these books end up. That's why I was thinking about rewriting it and creating a second edition. So Remy's Journey is another one that I wrote. That was about 24. Yeah, in 24. Now you can see a little bit more changes. Remy's Journey. I could have done better in the graphics here. That's the photo that I created. I like it. Just, some people like it, people don't like it. Remy's Journey: Tales of Love, Joy, and Hope. That's the hardcover. I have it in four types of product. And you can see it's really simple to read, easy to read, really into that. It's simple and quick. And also, age category is really important too. So, one of the things I do, especially actually all my books, especially in Remy's Journey, it was really intended to write it for teenagers, people who are younger, basically a father reading to their child. Um, so it's safe for younger ages, and that's important too because it changes the way your book is categorized in Amazon too. So I have Audible. Audible also creates a sample as well. You can read a sample or hear a sample. And this is where the power ranking improved. So you can see it's 2024, everything's enabled, the page is enabled, but you can see power ranking 1.2 million in Kindle, which I'm not doing well at all, but sees 100 in top Kindle. That means that it says I'm in top 100, and I don't understand how that works, but because it's kind of a conflict. But you can see adoption. I put adoption as one of my categories. It's 502. Adoption in books, 1,000. Parenting and relationship in Kindle, 6,600. So I'm looking good there. Plus, I got 5 reviews. That's 2024. If I would have had at least another 20, my rankings would have jumped up, and that means I would have got more sales. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So, but that's what it looks like when everything is kind of lined up properly. The only thing is I never fought for reviews. And that's what happens with books. So it ends up like this one, dead in Amazon. So obviously we got to build a system between authors, indie authors, Substack authors, and the support in Amazon in Substack. And somehow now we have to figure that collaboration, working together and moving books forward. And the best thing is we have to build value. We have to build consistency. We have to build smart launches. We have to work with each other. We got to work with bursts, small bursts. And the idea is we need to work climbing together. And the reason why I like doing this on Substack, is that at least the supporters start to understand what an author goes through to create the books and create these rankings and the importance of all this. And hopefully they'd be more in tune to do more of that down the road. But you got to remember, as an author, make it as easy as possible for them to click and share. And most importantly, help them encourage other people, because the more people are engaged, the more reviews, and the more possibility of converting your sales. So 30 less clicks is where we looked at the bike accident that was dead. Nobody likes that book. But if you're in the 50 to 100 clicks, and that's probably where the Remy's Journey is, then it's getting really populated. It's getting interest and stuff like that. And if you have 25 consistent contacts in your things, reviews will unlock your sales. And this is the important part of the book funnel. We have to make sure that we as authors are clicking and reviewing each other, but also asking everybody else to do the same. Because as we are growing this community, this tribe, this marketing machine that is independent on its own, no need for nobody, we can make this turn into something that's beautiful. And we can drive the sales. We can drive these indie books to be number 1, number 2, number 3. And that's where we want to be in the rankings, really high up there and get it going. If you think about a publisher, then we'll go back to the publishing. What they're going to do is they're going to dump $10,000, $15,000 in advertisement Amazon. They're going to pump another $10 or $15,000 in somewhere else. They're going to put it in all their bookstores. They're going to do that's going to be easy thing. Uh, and the other thing is that um, um, they're looking at that. So they're gonna pay for advertisement, but we don't have to pay for advertisement. We have the advertising. We have people that are in our orbit, our community. They're always together. So the more aligned we are, the better we convert into these books into higher selling things. The question is, the bike accident sounds either depressing or tragic. Maybe you just need to change the title. No, there's more revision in that book that I have to do, and that is, uh, it was a tragic, but it needs to be it needs to be cleaned up completely. But I agree with you, it needs to be changed. Um, that's a project I'm gonna work on later down the road. So, what most authors do, they work alone, they hope for traffic, and they hope for some type of sale. And reality is, if you're indie author, you're not going to get it. Simply not. Unless you have like $1 million or you have thousands of dollars in the bank account that you don't care to advertise, then you can go free and do it on your own and pay the average pay a publisher 10, 15,000. Now, there's a lot of authors, there's a lot of publications out there that will say, yeah, we'll publish your book, but it's going to cost you $15,000. You know why they want that money? Well, first off, that means they got to post everything, they got to do everything on their own, they got to advertise, and they have to get you copies. They have to do all that money that you're spending for a publisher is money that you can keep in your pocket and spend it wisely and use the network that we're developing here to create the traffic and to collaborate, which is the most important part of building a community. And then we're all winning because the next person coming up, they're going to get reap the benefit of all our hard work here. And they're going to get the opportunity to say, you know what, how can I get my book launched here? And they're going to come to us and we're going to tell them how to do that. You know, we can be very creative in helping each other, building this and growing. And we don't have to spend money and putting money in a way that, you know, don't get me wrong. If you want my help, definitely I'll help you consulting and all that. And, you know, definitely help you in that situation. But if you want me to pay me to do that, then yeah, it's $10, $15, $20,000 easily. And I'm not trying to sell this program. That's not the idea. I think we can do it without doing that and not relying on these scammers out there that says, I'll pay you three. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who did a book and the guy charged her, I think, $5,000 just to write the book. And that ain't even the book cover, just to write the book. And he didn't even do the editing. He hired an editor to do the editor. And she did all the writing and then gave it to the editor to write it out. And then they're going back and forth. But that cost her $5,000 and got nowhere near to the finish line. She came and talked to me. I helped her. I said, okay, I'll help you out. And within about a month or two, we launched the book. And I helped her on Amazon, got her all hooked up. Didn't charge her. Because my goal wasn't to get money. My goal was to get her up and selling her book. That was the most important part of the process here. And that's where we want to change that, because if we can do this and we can share the information and we can tell them how to do this, tell people how to write a book and put the book together and all that kind of stuff, that'd be great. Because if we can leverage what we have to make what we can do, we're unstoppable we're unstoppable here on Substack. And that's what I look at it. So really, when you were talking about the comparisons between most authors and you, and about building a community and taking advantage of the community, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean that in a positive way, because they want to help you regardless, because they love your content, they love reading your stuff, and they subscribe to you. If they taken that moment to subscribe to you, that meant there's something they connected with you. And this is your unfair advantage in this process. This is how you can take over this group. But the cool is You got to team up with other authors to make this work as well, because just in your orbit is not powerful enough. We need multiple orbits to put together to get it going to, so we can do the you in all of us. So indie books win by community. That was the theme. By building community, it optimizes opportunity in your books, but also amplifies your community, but also gives you power, gives them power, it gives you power, it gives us power, because as a community and a team effort, who needs a publication? Because if we can make our rankings go higher and be higher, isn't that the goal? Isn't that the goal, to get seen more, get heard more, get watched more? I mean, like, don't you matter? I mean, we all matter, right? So if we can elevate each other and make us in a point where we can be seen, that's the game changer that I'm talking about. So be part of it. This is how we be part of it. This is the simple thing we can do. We have to explore bundles. That means we'll have the book funnel as part of that. We need to support our authors here on Substack. And if you're a supporter or a reader or anyone out there, take an opportunity and leave a review. That's the most important part of this. Leave a review, help them get that recognition. And shape your community. This is how we're going to reshape our community. This is how we're going to use Substack to our advantage. And it's going to be a way that helps our supporter, engages them with us more, and gets to understand, help us amplify and create trust, and be our champion, be our leaders, be the voices that we can't be without thousands of dollars in our pocket and advertisement. But we also need to provide inspiration, expertise. This is part of this program, is to help and also show appreciation. Be grateful for your readers, your subscribers who spent time doing this. Like, everybody in this group here, in this chat, I mean, I threw this together and I popped this up in like less than 30 minutes. And I'm going to say this, like, each and one of you, I'm grateful for you. Like, for coming here on a Saturday afternoon, spending your time listening to me ramble about a book promotion and how to be a better book to sell your book on Amazon. I mean, I'm amazed, and I'm just very thankful for all of you, and I appreciate it. Now, if you got any questions or concerns or anything like that, please feel free to shoot it out, because this is really the last of the slide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you have any more questions, please let me know. Now, this will be, I plan on putting this on later on tonight, so people who have missed it can watch it later. So just to kind of give you a little bit more things we're doing in the first group that started in April. There, I mean, the clicks are around 30-ish, and that was pretty cool. There's been they've also got some movement in their books and things like that. There's a couple authors that needed to improve their books, but I'll leave that up to them to figure that out. The second group, I'm looking to launch in June, and I think I want to do this every 3 months, due to due to a lot of things that I have to. I mean, I got my own writing to do, and so I want to make sure I do this and I don't short people out. I want to spread them out every 3 months, I guess, and make sure the campaigns are going. But the cool thing is, all these campaigns will still stay live, so any of the authors can still publish their books and things like that. But I'm focusing on a month at a time, and then hopefully they can lead and take on that torch and continue to promote their groups. And hopefully by the end of the year, we've had maybe 5 of these or 6 of them, depending on this case. And then by then we're everybody's on a rhythm or on a momentum way of kind of like being together. They understand, oh, we got a book launch, let's everybody jump in, start doing their task and start moving forward. And hopefully that is something that we can all do together as a community, because it's part of the movement. It's part of what we're trying to build here. And I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited. I'm really excited about this. This is I've always thought, how do I utilize 350 million users per month? And just imagine that 350 million people actually taking the time and clicking on your book, clicking on maybe looking at to buy it, or maybe putting a review, or giving you guys 5 stars. I mean, just think of just that alone, the game changer that we can create on Substack and change everything on Amazon. So I have tons of questions. I'm going to need a phone call. Okay, well, we can set something up together later, or sometime this week to talk about that. But hopefully, everybody got some value out of this. I will try to come up with some other things that I see as I go along these programs and share them. I think I just wanted to kind of give a touch point on how users, authors, and so supporters can help each other in this world. And I really, truly thank you, everybody out there. Rhonda, Susan, Histories, Judith, Grace, Sacred, Christine, Lee, Susan, Roland, all you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time. If you want to text me or not text me, but if you want to send me a message on the side, please do. And I'll be I'll try to respond to you when I can or as soon as possible. Anyways, thank you and have a happy Saturday.